What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And in this video, we have really good news actually coming. We have a lot of agreement on the next stimulus package. We're going to go over what they agree about and what they're still discussing. There is stimulus checks now in this package. We're going to go over what the amounts are going to be going forward. Also, when we can expect to actually get the payments, get the unemployment money, the unemployment boost money, get the mortgage and rental assistance, and what to expect going forward. And I have another state that is passing rental assistance for you guys right now to the tune of thousands of dollars in stimulus money. I'm going to give you all the details of it in this video. But first, don't forget to like this video down below. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. My wife and I do all the research for you every single day on the second stimulus check and everything related. And we bring you all the information in a quick, concise video. So you don't have to spend 5 hours a day researching all this, kind of like how we do. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says we're close to an agreement. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says we've made major headway towards hammering out a targeted pandemic relief package that will be able to pass all chambers with bipartisan majorities. We're committed to continuing these urgent discussions until we have an agreement. So what does it look like they've already agreed on? Because obviously we don't have a final agreement. It hasn't been signed into law yet, which could be happening very, very quickly here. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, we could have this deal on the table. The one thing that we seem to be seeing from both sides is the $748 billion stimulus bill, basically the large main package of this bill, has been agreed upon by both the Republicans and the Democrats. So this is kind of like already agreed on. The main things in here is the $300 per week unemployment extension, which was going to probably go forward for 16 weeks. There's been a little bit of talk about maybe having it only go forward for 12 weeks. That really wouldn't be the end of the world because of the additional packages that Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden say are coming as early as next month, more stimulus packages. But this will probably be for 16 weeks, $300 per week. There's like $82 billion in there for schools and education. There's $300 billion in there for another round of paycheck protection program for anybody that has a small business to pay their employees. I will be giving you details on how to claim that money if you're a small business or if you have a side hustle, if you sell products on Amazon, like I teach people how to do, or even if you drive for Uber, or if you get 1099 as a side hustle, you can claim this bucket of money. I'm going to call these different buckets of money because there's $25 billion in there for rent assistance, direct rent assistance, not coming from a state or city, but coming directly from the government. I'm going to help you guys claim that bucket of money. And there's also $15 billion in there for food assistance. I'm going to help you guys claim all these different buckets of money. Of course, there's going to be different people that qualify for this and for this and for this. When they pass this bill, I will be walking you through how to claim these different buckets of money. So they have an agreement pretty much on the $748 billion from what we've been hearing from both sides. From also what we've been hearing is that there's also agreement on that smaller bill for the side bill that they kind of split that $900 billion bill into a 748 and a 160. They've agreed that they're pretty much not going to pass that 160, which would have gone to state and local governments and liability protections. They're going to throw that out the window, and they're going to spend that $160 billion on stimulus checks, possibly more, depending on how much the stimulus check, the direct portion of the check, ends up being. With that being said, the most common numbers we're hearing from different senators and congressmen is a $600 to $700 check or a $1,200 check. So we really don't know these details yet, as this is still coming in right now. It's actually still being negotiated on. We're going to hear from Senator Josh Hawley here in just a second, a brand new information from him. But it looks like it could be a $600 to $700 check, possibly a $700 check if you make less than $75,000. If you make between $75,000 and $99,000, it might drop down to $600. But we have a lot of people pushing for a $1,200 stimulus check and a $500 check for children. Also, I need to go back here, and my wife actually just reminded me here off camera because there's so much information going on. It's crazy. On that first part of that check, if the $600 to $700 check is the one that they end up going through, which honestly, I know there's some people not happy with that. I know there's some people that are thankful, and I know there's some people like, well, it's better than nothing. And, we're going to go over what's coming next month here in just a second. But I'm very thankful because last week, 2 days ago, there was nothing. So now we have at least $600 to $700 checks, and my wife wanted to remind us that there's $600 checks in there for each children too on that portion. And we had Senator Joe Manchin say that there was possibly $1,200 checks for families, which made it seem like there would be a $1,200 check for children. So possibly a $600 to $700 for adults and $1,200 for children. So basically, like the family aspect might get a little bit more to kind of help them get through the time. In addition to $1,200 per month for unemployed. The stimulus check part, we know that there's a stimulus check in there now, but honestly, we don't know if it's going to be $600, $700, or $1,200 yet. That's still being negotiated on. And that's where I want to, actually first, we're going to get to Senator Josh Hawley in a second. Let me show you this other part of what Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said.
Well, we're not negotiating the deal in here, but it's pretty obvious the way to get a deal for weeks has been exactly what I said, what Steny Hoyer's suggested, and what the bipartisan group has suggested, is to drop the two most contentious items for the moment. We all know the new administration is going to be asking for yet another package. It's not like we won't have another opportunity to debate the merits of liability reform and of state and local government in the very near future. Thank you.
Now, to see Mitch McConnell admit that he knows there's going to have to be more stimulus packages coming next month from his buddy Joe Biden, they're actually kind of friends. It's actually kind of weird, but I mean, they did work together in the Senate for like 30 years together each, so it's actually not surprising. But one we have to talk about is that Mitch McConnell says that there's more stimulus coming next month. He knows that they're going to have to put out more for the new administration because, as I said previously, new administrations have a funny way of when they first come in, getting their top priorities. They almost make it a must-have where they push through those agendas, like the Trump pushed through the border wall funding and got it, even though the Democrats said that they would never do it. He did get it. New administrations have a way of getting that money. So one, he says there's more stimulus coming next month. So whatever we get here now, as Joe Biden says, is just a down payment. What do I think would be coming next month? I don't think there'll be more unemployment because, again, they're probably going to pass this unemployment for 16 weeks. That goes all the way till April. So if they pass another stimulus package in January, then I don't think they're going to pass more unemployment because it'll still go all the way to April. What I do think that they will pass in January is more targeted relief for businesses, specific type of businesses or more PPP. For example, airlines and restaurants might need more. Restaurants especially are hurting really bad. Restaurants employ 10% of the United States population of people that, obviously work. About 10% of them work at restaurants. We might see some of that. I also think that then we will see the money come in for states and cities. And I also think then we will see another round of stimulus checks because remember, the Democrats are really the main ones that want the stimulus checks. There's really only until recently had been support for stimulus checks from the Republicans. And Joe Biden has been very adamant that this check is just a down payment. So I think we're going to see another check coming in January when they start this process again. And I think that we're going to see money for states and cities then, and then more targeted relief in different areas. It's also interesting to note that the money for the stimulus check is now coming to you instead of states and cities. And there's a lot of governors that are saying that, that money that didn't go to states and cities, that, they're not very happy about that. But the interesting thing is there's never going to be everybody's not going to always be happy. They could pass this package right now, and no matter what's in it, there's still going to be people that aren't happy. There's going to be people that are thankful, and there's going to be people that are just like, oh, well, that's great. Let's do another one. But there's always going to be people that aren't happy. My personal thought is, thank God that they're finally doing something. Let's get this now. Let's try to get as big of a stimulus check as we can, and then we'll work on the next package in January along with rent assistance and all these other buckets of money. Now, let me show you what Senator Josh Hawley is saying, who is the main author, along with the co-author Bernie Sanders, of this $1,200 stimulus check push.
Madam President, Last week, I came to this floor on 2 separate occasions with Senator Sanders to talk about the need for direct assistance to working families in my state, in the state of Missouri, and all across this country. And I said that I was willing to use every tool at my disposal to make sure that this body acted to give direct assistance to working people in need as part of COVID relief. And I said then, and I say it again today, that working people should be first in line for COVID relief, not last. They should be the first consideration, not some afterthought. And I'm pleased to report that we're told today, as negotiations are ongoing about a COVID relief bill, we're told that direct assistance to working people and working families is in the bill, that working people will be getting assistance. And I want to say once again here on this floor, as that package continues to take shape, how important it is that working families be able to count on some relief, and how important it is for this body to prioritize working people over government, over big businesses, over government programs, but to give assistance directly to the people themselves. Look, people know how to spend their money and what's best for their own families.
Real quick, I'm going to jump in here and just reiterate this in case you didn't see me say this in one of my last videos. When they say working families, working class people, they use several different wordings there. The easiest way to think about this is if you qualified for the first stimulus check, you most likely will qualify for this one. Again, we don't know the actual full details of everything on this yet. But when they do talk about the details of who should qualify, the vast majority of the time they say it's the same qualifications as the last time, okay? The areas where we might see change is possibly with the income limits. But again, I don't even expect that. And we might see changes in the child care if you owed child support, then you didn't get your check and went to the person you owed child support to. That might be changed because there was a lot of talk about that in the past, along with more people, more dependents getting the check. But the easiest way to think about it until we get the actual details is if you got the last stimulus check, then you will probably get this stimulus check also. Again, there could be some changes. We don't know those details yet, but that's just the easiest way to kind of think about it.
Quickest way to help people in need is to give them direct assistance and let them make the choices for their own families, for their own kids. Not to have to wait in line for some program, not to have to talk to some bureaucrat, but to be able to make their own choices direct, with assistance that comes direct to them. That's going to be in this bill, I understand, and I'm sure as heck going to continue to fight to see that it is in the bill and that any relief that's passed by the Senate prioritizes working people with direct relief. Now, some have questioned whether this is really necessary. Some have said, well, it's not an emergency. This bill is only for emergencies, and direct assistance isn't an emergency. To which I say, is it not an emergency that working people are having to line up for food? Literally line up for food in this country, in this day and age, because they don't have enough money to go purchase nutrition for their own children. Just think about what's happening in my own state. Let me tell you about Monarch Baptist Church in Neosho, Missouri. That's down in southwest Missouri. Now, at Monarch Baptist Church in Neosho, they had a food distribution program. And they've done this for years, by the way. But as COVID intensified this past year, they stood up their efforts. Neighbors came together, donated. They got all the food that they could. They went out there in Neosho, Missouri, not a huge town. Monarch Baptist Church went out and started distributing food. Do you know they distributed food to hundreds of families for hours? And when they had run out of the food, there were over 50 cars, not individuals, cars, 50 cars still in line as far as the eye could see, having driven miles and miles around from neighboring counties to come for the help. These are working people, Madam President. These are not folks who want some handout. These are working people. These are proud people. These are people who don't want government to do stuff for them. They want to be able to get back up on their own feet and provide for themselves. And government shut down their businesses and took away their jobs this past year and put them in this position of, in some cases, outright desperation. Let me tell you about a gal from Kansas City, 22 years old. Her first name is Mars. I won't share her last name just for her own privacy. But, you know, she's talked to me, told about her plight. She moved to Kansas City earlier this year, right around the time the pandemic started, got an apartment, was getting set up, getting going. Then the pandemic hit. Then the shutdowns hit. Then she lost her job. Then she lost her plumbing. Her water wouldn't work. She complained to the landlord. They wouldn't do anything. Then the ceiling collapsed. Landlord still wouldn't do anything. Then she didn't have enough money to make rent. And the other day she woke up with a 10-day eviction notice out on her front door. These are people who need help. Not because they don't know how to work, but because they do know how to work. And the government has put them in the position that they're facing today. This pandemic has put them in the position they're facing today. And what they want is the ability to get back up on their own 2 feet and provide for themselves by the work of their own hands. And that is what direct assistance to working families will do. So to those who say it's not an emergency, I urge you to open your eyes and to look around at the people who are hurting, who are struggling, who are desperate for help. I've heard that it's said that, well, it's not stimulative. What a word. Direct assistance isn't stimulative. As if the American people are knobs and dials to be twisted and turned around to get a desired outcome. As if the economy is something to be micromanaged from Washington, D.C. I'm not interested in stimulus. I'm interested in helping working people survive. I'm not interested in micromanaging this economy. I'm interested in getting working people back up on their feet so they can manage their own lives. That's what this is about. That's why the need is so great. That's what we're trying to accomplish. We have a chance to do this, Madam President, to get this done, to get accomplished here, something that we can be proud of before Christmas, to send a message to the American people that they matter, to send a message to working people in my state and in every state in this country that they matter, and that we are here fighting for them, that we look forward to the day when they are back and at work, ready to work, able to support themselves and their families, and that we are on the path to getting there. That's the message that we can send. That's the message that we must send. And I will not leave this body until it is accomplished. And I can promise you this, if I have anything to say about it, we will not be leaving here before Christmas until direct assistance is on the way to the working people of this nation. I yield the floor.
Man, is it just me, or does Senator Josh Hawley actually get it? I feel like there's so many of these congressmen, senators, and representatives that have been there they've been in Congress for 30 plus years. They don't talk like that. They don't talk about their response to somebody they talk to in their county, and families that they know, and people that went to churches to get food, and people he knows, people he spoke to from his county and from his state and from cities. I mean, this guy gets it. And I don't know, maybe I'm like campaigning for him for president, which I'm not, because he's not up for president. But man, I just wish that more senators and representatives were like that, and then they talk like that, and they talked about the people's needs and what people in their state are needing. You can let me know your thoughts down below, but it's just, thank God somebody finally gets it and understands that, like you said, it's not dials on the economy we're turning. These are people's lives that are at stake. It's just like, yeah, you can look at numbers and unemployment numbers and economy numbers and stuff, but realistically, those are all people, millions and millions of people. And thank God somebody is standing up for the people to get stimulus checks in this package. Speaking of stimulus checks that are going out right now in the form of rent assistance is available in Rhode Island right now. And in fact, it is available only until December 30th. You must apply by Wednesday, December 30th for this rent assistance in Rhode Island. And in fact, this article is just from 4 hours ago, so it looks like it's still available. $7.3 million available in Rhode Island for rental assistance. I will be bringing you more states and cities like that every day that are passing rent assistance and stimulus checks and all sorts of different buckets of money, along with when they do pass this package, how to claim these different buckets of money that will come from that. So make sure you're subscribed. New videos come out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Click the bell icon and all notifications if you want to get notifications. When we go live, I will keep you guys updated with all the information. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA, which I teach people how to do. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.